On this episode, I'm talking to Hangam Stanfield. She's an incredible mom, wife, and a co-owner of a pizzeria along with her husband. I'm so excited to talk to her about all the details that comes into working with your husband and purchasing a business. So let's get into the show. Welcome to the show.
How's it going?
It's going good. I am so happy to have you here. So a throwback. I used to have a business called Small Business Gal, and I interviewed owners of local brick and mortar businesses, and not local to me, but local in the U.S., whatever, who have brick and mortar businesses. And I had Hangam on the show, what was it, like a couple years back, and that was absolutely incredible. And so I know a bit of her story, but I'm so excited to actually get a different perspective of her story, and instead of the business building, hiring, and all the technical side of business, we're going to talk more about like the balancing, the story, the emotions of it. So if you're interested in checking out that other episode, go to smallbusinessgal.com. But for now, that's after. Go after. I'm going to have it in the show notes. But for now, we're going to talk about family balance and all the good stuff about purchasing and working with your husband. And so, Hangam, let's go way back and start you off with your story. How did you get started? How did you dive into this mompreneurship business?
Well, that would be about a couple years ago or so. But anyway, so I am originally Iranian. I lived in Iran for quite a bit of years, and then we moved to Spain, and then I was studying telecommunication engineering, and then I moved to New Mexico, Socorro, New Mexico, to finish my degree. I did electrical engineering. I met my husband there, and we got married senior year. We have two little boys, Luke and Mark. Their ages are currently 3 and 5. When I had a chat with you, they were 1 and 4, I think, at that time, or whatever it was. 1 and 3, I think, years old, but now they're 3 and 5. And we own a restaurant now. We bought our restaurant about 2 years and a half ago in 2014. So much has changed. We have the restaurant, we have our family, and all kinds of fun stuff to deal with daily.
So, Hangam, so I know that you moved from New Mexico into Texas. How was that like, and what was the process like, you quitting your job, and like where in the world did you get this crazy idea to buy a business?
That was a crazy idea. We had no prior restaurant experience. So after the senior year, we went and got full-time jobs, and we were just not very happy with it, partly because we wouldn't see each other much all day, and we kind of like each other, and so we weren't happy with that, and so we thought maybe we should have a business. Then at that time we as well led a college ministry, and we had college students over all the time. We would feed them all the time, and then my love for Italian food, so the combination of both, we thought, hey, maybe we should open a restaurant without any prior restaurant experience. That was not wise at all, but anyways, so we sold our house in New Mexico. Then we moved to Texas. We bought this restaurant, and we just kind of moved, and the price range was similar. So that's kind of one day to the next. We were in charge of an operation. At that time, we had, I think, 15 staff total. Now we're to 45. So.
Okay, so every time I think of you and about your story, I'm in awe, because how can you do that? Just like have a good job, a house, 2 children, just life is good, and all of a sudden make this dramatic change. And it's interesting because this is what we do as entrepreneurs. We're not happy with our situation, we're gonna change that. And I love that about you. That was so brave of you to do that. Now, how was the communication like between you and your husband?
We spend a good time, my husband and I, talking. We done that even from dating time. We would just sit and have hot tea or whatever, just talk till like 3 a.m. So we have had always good communication. Mm-hmm. Our approach is always the same, in that trying to find the best solution for what we're looking for. So that has worked for us. As also, I want to back up to what you just said. You said, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we're unhappy with the way things are going, and we change stuff. And I wanted to say that That's not always wise to do. One has got to assess and discern what's best. Just quitting your job without really, having the whole picture isn't. Like now with the restaurant as well, there are far too many days that things get really rough, but you can't just throw the towel either. So when things get rough doesn't mean you need to quit either. So I just wanted to kind of, it's really hard to balance and discern because each circumstance is a little different. But it's important to know, okay, I'm unhappy with something. What are you working towards? So it may not happen for you this year or next year or the one after, but it's just good to know that what are you working towards? That you have a vision. Okay, well, we want to have our own business. So what can I do to be ready for it till that day comes? I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And I appreciate you for saying that because sometimes like my husband and I, we made crazy decisions based on that. Like we don't like our life right now. Let's change it. And it was dramatic and it was really rough. And it's not only rough on you as a person, it's rough in the marriage, it's rough in the kids. And so, I mean, it's really important to assess that. That's so, so true. So now going back a bit, you wanted like more freedom, spend more time together. How did the topic of buying a pizzeria come into play?
I think in that season, initially, we decided to do something online, and we actually started in e-commerce. It did not do very well. And then we realized, we need to learn some stuff. And then somehow we thought, okay, maybe we should do brick and mortar. And again, we loved hospitality. And we thought, restaurant, it would be the best in terms of serving that. And our mission was that hospitality. We love and serving people. So that was kind of a little bit of that. And it wasn't our price range because we sold our house and we went and bought the restaurant. It was a little bit of that.
So you took the money, you purchased the restaurant. Where did you live?
Well, from New Mexico, where we were moving, so we looked up any rentals online, and we made phone calls, and we just moved, we moved into a rental. We just got it. I looked it on Google Earth at that time. It was like a few years ago. I was like, it seemed like a nice neighborhood, and we just moved. So it wasn't, we weren't really peculiar. So we just moved to a rental, and we still live in a rental actually. And because all of our money has to kind of go back into building the business and buying better equipment and making things better in the restaurant right now.
That's so interesting because we had our guest on previously a couple months ago of Paulina of Let's Remodel, and her husband owned the business, a remodeling business as well. And she said the same exact thing. Like they live in rental, and all the money that they make, well, besides what they live on, they put back into their business, invest back into either new equipment or whatever it is. And so I completely understand that, and that makes so much sense. In where are you in is the same exact rental as you first moved into?
No, initially the first rental we got, it was about 15 minutes from the restaurant. The rental we live now is 5 minutes from the restaurant.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you and your husband work together. Are you in the restaurant together all the time, or do you switch off? How do you do that?
So what happens with my husband and I, with our business, we take care of different things. Mm-hmm. So there's not as much overlap in terms of, if both of us discussing a couch, I say, well, the couch to be here, you say the couch is there, and then we have to discuss the couch versus, I'm in charge of the couch, you're in charge of something else,
Yeah.
So that way, as long as we're on the same page, the bigger picture of where we're going, the details don't matter. I think you need to let go of the details. You need to understand that you can't control everything. And if you do, your business is too small. As the business gets bigger, you have got to let go of some things and pick your battle, because you can't fight over every single thing. So you have to be like, what, out of these 5 things, these 2 things matter the most to me. I'm going to make sure that, I'm okay with the way it turns out. The other 3, I don't really care, so I'm going to trust you to handle that. I'm going to do these other things. So
that's so powerful. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we don't have as much of an overlap in the things we do. He takes care of different things, and I take care of different things. Staff comes to me asking about something, I direct them to my husband, because it's not, I'm not trying to have all the answers in the world. And I'm not interested, because my cup is already overflowing. I really don't need to know everything in the business. I need to know what I need to know, and I need to do the best at it. He does his thing, I do my thing. So now, do I go him, counsel, ask, hey, this is my idea. What do you think about this? He tells me his ideas. I take it into consideration. We obviously talk about stuff. And when he's doing it the same, we discuss if it's a purchase is going to be big, okay, what are the pros and cons to it? And, we do make decisions like that together. But on a day-to-day, he takes care of things, I take care of different things. So that works very well for us.
Very interesting. Can you share with us what are some of your responsibilities in the business?
Well, I submit our weekly payroll. I submit our sales tax. I do work in the kitchen itself. So, for instance, pizza making. He is not a pizza maker. I can make pizza pretty fast, so he doesn't do that. It's again because everybody will have a mediocre level of knowledge if everybody knows the same thing versus let me master 3 things, you master 3 things, and between you and me we'll have mastered 6 things versus, me mediocrely know 6. But so anyways, I'm a pizza maker as well. I am involved in training staff. He's doing onboarding, all of that. So as well, I do training staff. I do that too. So some of in marketing I do. So those are some of the things on my plate.
Okay, very interesting. So going into the business, did you already know like your strengths and what you're good at, or was it jumping into the business and learning from trial and error?
I think learning from trial and error and partly knowing a little bit about my strength, but a lot it is you don't know what you don't know until you're involved. I mean, a lot of times you think, oh no, what if this? There's going to be so much that you don't know. So before you get into something, you don't know what you don't know. So there's a lot of that happening all the time as well.
Exactly. So now, how do you balance children? Because you have 2 sweet boys, and how do you manage the business and the kids?
2 different things. One, well, my parents live with us, and they lived with us, before we bought the restaurant, and they helped us and stuff. So they both work at the restaurant now. My mom is home with the kids. Matthew, my husband, he's at the restaurant doing some onboarding with some new staff, and I'm here chatting with you. And then in the afternoon I go. My mother has to go to the restaurant, so we have a system going that between the 4 of us we take care of the kids. So that works well for us. The other thing is that I have learned that having peace with what you are able to do has been helpful to me. So, for instance, some days I have our day, and it is what it is. I cannot change those circumstances. I might as well have peace with it. So I barely saw my kids yesterday, and I left at 5 a.m. this morning to record some training videos and all of that. So it is what it is. At times you have to have peace with what you can do, and understand that this is a season. In business, we go through different seasons. When your business is young, it's going to be really demanding, and it's important how you do what you do. I'm trying to build something new for our kids. It's part of a legacy. If you want to go build a house, it's not going to happen. It's going to take years if it's done in your part-time or whatever. And also, it's important to be able to gather stories to be able to tell our kids one day. And so that's important to me. I can think of like my grandparents and how hard they worked. I barely saw my parents when I was growing up because they had to work really hard. And I have great parents. I turned out fine-ish, So I feel like a lot of times we think that we have to be with our kids all the time, which know that it's so hard for me to tell that it is really hard. I really, really love my kids. But also I understand that it's going to take an enormous amount of energy to get out of the rat race, build a business, and so they don't have to go through what we're going through. And so every single thing that I'm able to learn through our business, every gray hair, every boiling blood that I get every day with the stress of the restaurant, I know at the end of the day my kids are going to win because I'm able to impart in them. I'm becoming a better mother as a result of gathering wisdom, so I'm well-rounded to be able to depart in them part of that, and that won't be easy at all. So that's just the cost of it.
Oh, okay. That is such a beautiful perspective. So, you know how like we have a lot of mom entrepreneurs come on and they share their take on this, and I'm so inspired by what you said is that, what I'm doing right now is building their future. And it's so true because oftentimes like I don't think I've announced this on air before, but like my kids went to school, like to actual public school from, full time for 6 hours. And I had the worst mommy guilt like of my life, seriously, because I've homeschooled them previously. And then to hear this from you, like, hey, you're doing this for them. Like, you need the time. Like, I need the time to work on my business so I can give them a better future. But it's important to also to know, like, to spend the time that you do have with them very like one-on-one, very intentionally with your phone off, because I think that a lot of us are struggling with that. So may I ask you, like, when you do get the time with them, what are some of the things that you do to really connect with them?
This is a big topic, and I think something that I've learned as well. Again, our background is my husband and I in engineering.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the easy answer, and not the easy answer, the right answer is easy to see. In business, it's each person has to see what works for them. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So that, and again, one must discern what works for you, and based on your kids are different. Each of them has different personality and different needs. I had a conversation with somebody back when she was telling me how they never talk about business for instance, right? My husband and I, we talk about business at home all the time. And I'm trying to think about, so which one's good? Because, there's this other theory of, hey, your kids feel that maybe they're not first in your life because y'all are talking about business all the time, right? So it's discerning and understanding, what it is. So the way I do it, I put myself in my kids' position. And I feel like, hey, if my parents talked about business all the time, how would I feel? For me, I was like, hey, my parents were never in business, but to me, it would serve me. It'd be good for me to hear, some of their struggles, their ups, their downs, their wins, their losses. I feel like it would be good for me because it's a way of me learning from them. That's my personal view. So that way, I'm okay with talking about business in front of my kids. That's the way for me. It may not be okay for you, so you think, you know what I mean? Each person's different.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, I think we need to know, we have our kids, I'm a mom, I have to discern what's best for my kids. So you know what's best for your kids, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying everybody has to do it, but I'm okay with talking business in front of my kids. My husband and I, we do that a lot. So what I try to do is we do try to spend as much time we can with our kids. And when we do, we run around, we have a good time. I mean, we can be home in odd hours. At night, a lot of times we're not home. The restaurant gets busy when everybody's off. So on weekends, we have to work. And Friday night is time. So it's very different, and accepting that this is not a normal path. So it is unwise and slightly stupid to compare myself to a mom who doesn't have a job, who's, like you're saying, like, someone who can homeschool their kids. You're trying to build a business. It's not comparing an apple to a tiger. It's a bad comparison. You know what I mean? It doesn't apply. So you need to know where you're going, and you need to have peace with it. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong. It's irrelevant if it's right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? You have to have peace. So the decision you make.
How do you find peace with the decision that you make?
Very a big question. To me, I sit, I observe, I separate myself from the decision itself. I look up what's the opportunity cost of the decision. I just overall, but one of the things to realize is I think people have too many options. It's the same, you go down the cereal aisle, there are so many options. And when there are not many options, decision making is much simpler, in my opinion. I have no choice. Like yesterday, I had a bad headache. I had worked a Saturday, like a 12-hour shift. Staff did not show up. I have to go to the restaurant. I have no other choice, whether my opinion is, do you know what I mean? Whether I think it's right or whether I think it's wrong, whether I wish this, it's irrelevant. Whether it wasn't, what matters is what I have to do today. So I'm just going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to have peace with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I have no choice.
You're talking like my husband right now, because I often like freak out and go like, oh my gosh, like, oh my kids, like this or that. And he's like, you chose this path right now you have no other choice like but to do this, like, and this is a commitment you've made previously, so you got to do what you got to do. And it's kind of like picking up my kids. I'm 45 minutes away from my house right now because I'm renting an office, because we kind of live almost in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, I'm not going to be able to make it to pick up my kids. That means I have to enroll them in an after school program. Oh my gosh, that's like the worst. But I mean, I got to do what I got to do, right? And I love that this perspective is like, it's okay. This is, as well as you mentioned earlier, it's a season of life, and it's not always going to be like this. So I really, really appreciated that. So you mentioned staff doesn't show up. Like, how do you even let's talk a little bit about team building, because I know there's a lot of mom entrepreneurs who are building their teams right now, and I feel like it's very similar building either in person or online. So can you share with us some of the strategies that you use to build a team to keep them motivated? And I understand a lot of them are teenagers on their summer break, right? I think that's what we talked about. Like, how do you work it?
It is not easy, and it's really hard. It's a full-time job of its own for us right now. We have so many staff. We do our best to take care of our staff. We do our best to pay them the best we can. In a restaurant, I can never pay somebody $20 an hour. It's because unless each pizza is $50, it's a low margin kind of a business. It makes it really hard. So we do try to care for staff in other ways. So that's one, knowing what's going on in their personal life. They want to go to college. Okay, you want to study business. One wants to study real estate. Giving them books. Hey, why don't you follow so-and-so? Chat. Just giving them interest to their personal life is one way to do it. The other way is investing an enormous amount of time in training them. That's, again, it's a full-time job. We do spend a lot of time training staff, all kinds of stuff. So the one thing is skills that is required for the restaurant, but also work ethic, why you have to do this, why you should not do that. Actually, it was a video today, you have to say hi to your coworkers because they all just come in without saying hi to people and stuff. It's just kind of rude, and trying to tell them, hey, when you come in, you have to say hi. Again, they're teenagers, and some of the stuff is basic, but it's not happening. Some of that. So there's a lot of training involved. And we lose some, we gain some. It's really hard.
Wow. Okay. So, and I thought running a business, online business, is hard. Goodness gracious, this is crazy. So, when these teenagers come to you with, let's say, maybe, for example, no work ethic, maybe from really broken families, and I feel like, just listening to you speak, I feel like you have a ministry on its own besides running the business, is really helping these youngsters succeed in life. And the fact that you said you ask them what they want to do in life and giving them books and resources, I think that's incredible. How do you think that your employees feel about that? I'm really curious.
Great
have they?
Question. So for us, okay, well, this is opening another thing. But
yeah.
This is our ministry. This is how we serve our community as well. So, however, one thing to know is that it's not always well received. Not well received in that it's not valued. Wisdom is all over. Everything you need has already been done. And the wisdom and the knowledge is out there. Anything. Even go to the moon. It's been done, right? But for people to put that into good use into their life, that's the part that is missing. A lot of times I feel like it's so simple with ours. Just do this and this and this, you will succeed. It's not complex, it's not complicated. But a lot of times people don't value it. It's because it requires wisdom for you to see wisdom. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying.
Yes, exactly.
You don't even see the wisdom around you. It's right under your nose. The person who can help you, for instance, for us, I have, because we're business owners, I have connections to the city, I meet with the city manager, the city councils, it's a connection away, for them to want to achieve. I can help you with some stuff, but they don't even see it. It's under their nose. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It takes wisdom to see wisdom. If you're not intentional, you won't even see it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's so hard because at times they just quit. And I've invested so many hours of my life sitting with them, coaching them, well, different stuff, and it means as if it meant nothing to them. And they walk away. And understanding that I do this not for the approval, for them to be them. This is my community service. I am sowing some seeds. And
Exactly.
to have peace with that, and that is extremely hard. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It isn't.
Exactly. I agree with you about the sowing seeds. Maybe they will walk away and move on in their life. But I know, like for a fact, I know they will remember this and they will go back and they'll think, oh my goodness, that was powerful. Or like, wow, thanks to her, I am now here. And I even remember this all the time. Like, I mean, so many things like my dad told me that I just did not get. And he would always tell me that with love and understanding. And I only got it when I was 26 years old. Like, it's ridiculous. And so, but like, I think that, again, to see the wisdom, you got to be wise, and it's just a seed, and it's going to grow up in its own time, and it's going to bring value to their life. And I feel like sometimes, like even with kids, I mean, this is such a great topic because even with kids, like you're telling them things and it's like in one ear out the other, but I know that this is a seed in their heart and that it will affect their life in a good way. So I really appreciate you saying that. Now, so how do you balance it all? How do you balance being the incredible coach that you are for your employees, the trainer, the business manager, and how do you balance being a loving wife and the great communicator with your husband, as well as a nurturing mother? Like, I admire you so much, and I want to hear your take on that.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't think about balance as much because in this season, and it won't be forever, I need to do what I need to do. So it's both for my husband and I. And understanding that sometimes, he's at the restaurant, he won't be home till the kids are in bed. We have chosen this path. We won't have standard lives. For a long season, we would just right now to go on a breakfast date, my husband and I, right? Regular people go on a date night. We can't because the restaurant's busy at night, so we would go to a breakfast together. Making things work, understanding what works for you in a season. Your marriage may not be the top priority because your business has so much demand. It is what it is. You have to have peace with that and give your best. And again, my husband and I sometimes, we just drink a glass of wine and watch it because we're just so exhausted. And that's all you can do, just have peace with what you can do. And with the kids, it's the same. I don't pursue balance in that way. We do work hard and we play hard. And I want my kids to learn that. Like, for instance, next month we're going to a food show conference in Dallas. Well, we're going to take the kids. Always any business conference, we take the kids with us. So, we're going to get a hotel with a pool, so we're able to go off like 4 or 5 days. I remember when we had full-time jobs, days out of the year you have off, okay? So it is all relative. We don't have weekends, so we work really hard, but then we play hard. So we go to Dallas, then the month after that we go to Houston. Every year we go to Vegas for Pizza Expo. We went to New York for our conference. So it's not all, what I mean. So it's the concept of, we do like to work hard and play hard. If that's what's going to take for us to be able to play hard, then we're going to work hard. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, I was just explaining it to my 5.5-year-old. I was like, hey honey, when you work hard, you play hard. Like, it's so funny. He's like, well, what does that mean? Anyway, so I completely love that concept. And going back to what you said earlier is that, like, you're literally teaching your children so many valuable lessons that they wouldn't have ever heard of any time in their life. It's like the inside knowledge from adult conversation. Like, it's interesting because I feel like our background is very similar. Like, I was born in Ukraine, and I mean, you were born and raised till about 8 years old, and so were you. Like, you were raised in Iran, and I feel like the way we grew up was very similar. And back then, like, I don't know about your parents, but my parents is like, okay, adult conversation is adult conversation. Like the kids, go to your room, go play, go whatever. This is adult conversation, and not to say that it was like R-rated or whatever, or PG-13, or how people rate conversations nowadays, but it was just like adult conversation, like talking about business or talking about whatever. And so like I feel like now it's really my mom is like, Vicky, I cannot believe you talk about this like adult conversation in front of your children. And it's not to say that they're inappropriate. They're just like really like, in-depth conversations, like either with my sister or, like even like my brother and my sister have a mastermind group, and we would sit down and talk back when I lived in Portland, and Sam, my 8-year-old, would just sit and listen. And my mom was like, Vicky, he's a kid. Don't let him grow up so fast. But like for me, I feel like we're adding so much value to his life. And so like I feel that's exactly what you're doing. But I'm interested, like what are your kids, how do they feel? Like do they say like, when I grow up I want to make pizza? Like I'm really curious what they say.
Well, they're younger than, to that level.
Yeah.
They do know what we do.
Yeah.
And I think the way I'm going to be a little bit different than like a regular person. Americans, they believe, whatever your kids want to pursue and blah, 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 whatever it is, right? Whatever they're passionate about. I am going to look in to see what they're good at. But at the end of the day, business principles apply, because you have got to be able to sell. No matter if you are an artist, it doesn't matter. Some of these principles of being able to sell, communication skills, it's just these are persuading people, influencing these. It doesn't matter what you do. So those things are going to be part of our curriculum. I'm not going to do a basic, homeschooling thing, and your kids probably. I'm not even going to do probably calculus stuff because I've done it all. Yeah. And it is, some people are going to be very offended, but it doesn't bring value to my life. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like some of the calculus stuff that I did, I don't use them at all ever. Exactly. So I want my kids to do business, because I think it is better to be your own boss. Now, when they're teenagers, will I have them become dishwashers at another location? I would, because you need to learn what it costs, hard work, that you have, physical labor. There is something with physical labor that you understand hard work in no other way. When your legs get sore, when you're in the dish station for 5 hours, man, it builds your character like none other. So I would want them to do all of that, working minimum wage, for them to understand, what it takes to be your own boss, because it's not all fun at all, in fact, And you were saying, BNR, these are all like what they sell you, right? In terms of you want to have your own freedom, but ultimately you are in control. But that I think you are free to shift things around, but that doesn't mean that you're not working hard. That, you know what I mean? You're still going to work. Again, we work probably 60 hours a week, more than what we did before. But would I change it to have a job? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? Is it challenging? Do I want to throw the towel every day? Absolutely. Am I overwhelmed all the time? Absolutely. But would I change it for anything else? I would not. Because we're just stretching, and that's why it hurts. Just, when it's just how it is. But, we have a blast doing it. And it's really, really hard. And it's okay,
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's powerful, and I'm so glad you're making me feel so much better now, because so many of us have so much mommy guilt, and like we're not 24/7 with our children, and they need us, but in fact, if there's with someone who takes care of them, who loves them, like I feel like they benefit from other people's wisdom and other people's knowledge. So now to wrap up, and Hangam, you're amazing. Like I could talk to you all day, and I'm so inspired by your work ethic, your grit, like your hustle. It's absolutely so empowering to me, because I'm like, man, if she can do it, I can too. Or if she has that mindset, I can too. So it's very empowering. So can we, in closing, I really want to touch upon the buying of a business, because I know you purchased this business. So there's so many wannabe entrepreneurs that listen to the show. So many moms email me on a weekly basis saying, hey, I am a mom, but I don't have a business, but I want to, and this is so interesting, I love your show. Or like, hey, I'm not even a mom, but I'm married and I want to have my business, and so this is inspiring. So your words are are so valuable to so many people, including myself. And so like, for example, let's say that a wannabe mama entrepreneur who's listening to the show right now is talking with her husband about purchasing a business, like going the route that you're going, maybe not a pizzeria, maybe something else. But what advice do you have for them as far as purchasing the business and making it work?
Okay, well, I would say a couple things. One, I'm going to tell you a lot of people want a lot of things in life. We all want so much of different things.
Yeah.
Question is, do you want it bad enough to be willing to, give some of the stuff you got away? You know what I mean? Like, do you want it bad enough? Are you willing to work for it? Because it won't be easy. It won't. It'll be very complex and complicated. Anything in life that is worth fighting for is going to be good. It won't be easy.
Amen.
It'll be hard. You're gonna fall. You're gonna get back up. You're gonna bleed. It's gonna hurt. You want to quit. It's just, that's how it is, and that's how you move forward in the business. That's how it gets thicker. There's no other way. I wish it was. That's the only way your skin is gonna get thicker. But so the question is, are you willing to give what it takes? So how bad do you want it is the question I have. Then the second thing is, like, for instance, if I could go back for us in the restaurant, my husband and I would never work a day in the restaurant before we went and bought it. So for me, it's like, if I could go back in time, if someone wants to be like, hey, I wish I bake muffins good, and everybody tells me you should open a bakery. Here's what I would say. Why don't you get a job at a bakery? Why don't you work the weekends? For free. You're just trying to learn. If someone was to tell me, hey, we're going to open a restaurant in Houston, I want to just shadow you for a few days, I'd be happy to depart with them. No one comes and asks, ask for help. Are there other business, for instance, you live in a city, go to another city and say, hey, try to meet the business owner and say, I'll invite you to lunch. I just have a series to ask you. So you're not going to be in a competing, if it's a local one, right? You're not going to be in a local competing business. But if someone's from another town comes over, they were to ask me questions, I'd be happy to depart wisdom on them, on the ups and downs. So if you want to open a business, I don't care what it is, it's an Etsy store. Email someone who has an Etsy store and ask them a series of questions. Ask 10 of them. One of them may answer, some may not answer. It is what it is. In business, you're going to get so many people who turn it down. It is what it is. Just move on from it. But you have to experience it, in my opinion. Go become a dishwasher. Like for a restaurant, it's kind of easy for me as an example. Become a dishwasher, because that's what it's going to take. I wash a lot of dishes. It's part of the game. Are you willing to do what it takes? Because you have this idea of how it's going to be. You don't know what you don't know. So if it's an online business, why can't you say, hey, I will edit your videos for you? Someone can say, hey, Vicky, I'm in a business, whatever. I want to have a show, whatever. Or just, I will edit those videos for you for free. I just want to see what it takes. Great, right?
That's so beautiful. And you don't know what you don't know. And I completely agree. And this can be applied to everything and anything. Like you want to become a mother, babysit a newborn, a toddler, or whatever. If you want to, and again, like starting a business, you really have to, if you don't have the opportunity to go and help someone and learn from them, do it yourself, learn in your trial and error, and treat it as an experiment. Like, hey, there's so many things that I'm doing as an experiment right now that you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things. And I remember, like, I sat down with, what's his name? Jonathan Fields, and I was like, oh, I have so many opportunities. I have so many directions that I can go in, like, opposite directions, but I don't know which one to pick. And he's like, well, just pick one at a time, give it 6 months each, and see how you feel about every single one of them. And just treat it as an experiment. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So like, if you don't have the opportunity to go and experience, like, say Matenga's pizzeria, go and get yourself a job and experience it. Maybe, I think it's going to be a really hard try to actually open one yourself and try it for 6 months. But you get the point. I think it's online business, the learning curve may be a little bit smaller. I would say maybe not the learning curve, maybe like the time it takes to see if it'll work or not. But anyway.
I agree. I think with an online business, in terms of validating an idea.
Yeah.
So to me, if another setting, validating for me is get a job. Get a job on a weekend. one day a week. See if you're able to do. Is it going to be at night? Yep. Are you going to be tired? Yep. Welcome to the world of business. That's what's going to take.
Very
How
interesting.
bad do you want it? You know what I mean?
How bad do you want it?
A lot of people are kind of unhappy with their jobs, but you either need to get happy or be willing to get. You know what I mean? It'll be hard no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just that are you working with your path at the end of the day?
So good, so good. Hangam, you're amazing, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much again for your time. Like this has been so informative and so valuable for my life, and I'm sure to so many mom entrepreneurs who are watching.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you again so much for watching the Mompreneur Show. I am so thankful that you are here watching us live, because this is a show that features amazing stories of the most remarkable mom entrepreneurs for a reason. We want to inspire and encourage you as a mom entrepreneur to do things that maybe not everybody will do, to do things that matter to you and your family. I'm your host, Vicky Lashenko, and I'm so thankful to you for joining us live. Please join us live next time, every single Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. And if you'd like, you can go to mompreneurshow.com /RSVP and RSVP for the next show. And you can look at all the previous shows that we have on our website as well. Also, before I let you go, I would love an opportunity to share with you the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made as a mompreneur, and in hopes to inspire and encourage you and maybe to help you avoid those mistakes. So if you go to mompreneurshow.com /5 mistakes, you'll be taken to a sign-up form, and you just like your name and email address, and I'll send you a PDF that shares my 5 biggest mistakes and a solution on how to fix them if you've made them before. So I think that you'll really enjoy that. Again, mompreneurshow.com /5 mistakes. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope I will see you next time, because we have an incredible episode coming up. All right, have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.